Oops. God damn it. Oh, admit. Are you there? Okay, Karen's there. Audio. Oh, there, I see her too now. Except your head's like only in the in the far left, lower left corner. Now her video's back off.
Well, I'd have for my video to work here, Jonathan. I've got to shut the curtains because I look like a ghost and everything.
Oh,
So
right, sure.
I'll be on camera next time.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. All right, I think everybody's back and it's recording,
Yes.
so we can just kind of
Yes.
keep on going.
Oh yeah.
We'll
Oh
have to do a
yeah.
little editing maybe if you want to make that splice together without a bunch of craziness, but it won't be
Oh
much.
no. No, we're good.
Cool.
I have a forgiving audience. They realize this is all organic. Oh, by the way, in honor of this, I'm going to have to be on camera.
There it
This
is. I see it.
yeah, this
Beautiful.
is me. This is what I look like in public.
Beautiful.
No, yeah, whatever. This is one of my first machines.
What is that? Hot sauce?
What? Oh, no. This is a tinctures for vitamins, that kind of thing. This particular
Oh,
one's for eyes,
oh, okay.
for eye health.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
you. Okay. I
Oh
just
yeah.
saw a little bottle there, and I'm hungry, I guess. So I was like, ooh, hot sauce.
No. But no, this is one of my little things here. It's my first electronic machine. Um, and it's one of my standbys because one thing you'll notice, Jonathan, as you use these machines, the older they get, the more powerful they become. I don't know why. It's just they age like a fine wine.
Hmm.
And so it's just really neat there. But no, anyway, I was checking or talking to you, about the Mandela effect in the last thing here, and we were talking about the Sistine Chapel.
Oh,
Uh, what was the one thing? Well, I'll tell you what got me. This is what really got me interested in that there was something a little crazy going on, and that was the fact that South America was out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I remember it being almost directly underneath North America, with Mexico and Central America being more or less a semi, sort of a diagonal line, but it wasn't a sharp diagonal line that connected the two continents together. And it was a very strange experience to see it out there.
yeah.
And what I've noticed now is that the coastline of the United States has changed, especially up around Maine, from what I could tell, and also that we're shifting back westward. I would say we're probably about oh we're the west coast of South America is probably in line with Louisiana right now.
Oh, shit. That has changed since a month ago. Dude, that's another thing about this people don't recognize. It's not like it's now static in its new fixed spot. This shit, if you're focusing on these and watch it, this shit changes all the time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I remember like when I first got interested in stuff. I mean, South America was like what 1,500 miles from Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at it now.
Well, it was the coasts. The coasts lined up. East
Yeah.
Coast with the west coast of South America. Like, whoa, dude,
Oh,
that's
North
way off.
America. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
And the
North and
Panama
South.
Canal was running north and south.
Oh yeah, and I have a friend of mine who was with an intelligence agency, and he was stationed down in Panama. He says I could swear up and down. I know I had to know where the hell I was at because of my job in Panama. And he says I know for a fact that it went from east to west. And I'm showing him the way it looks now, and he's like, "No way, not a chance."
Yeah. Oh, and another fun fact is that if you watch a boat go through the Panama Canal, right? It's like miles.
Right.
It's just flat as shit. Thing on there, and it's just like It's just like, yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know. It's just another one of those things, and it's not again so much about it's flat. It's that it's not where we think we are.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
why flat Earth is cool. It's not that it's just that it's flat. Oh, where's the edge? Think harder.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, here's what gets me about this flat Earth stuff. Yes, I've heard, yeah, that's crazy. It's just some kind of a psyop from the CIA that they're trying to change. Yeah. I hear all
Your
this
senses
stuff.
are a psyop from the CIA.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the problem, the sticky wicket about all this. I have seen two experiments with lasers, okay, going across bodies of water. One was Salt Lake. Another one was some major lake over in the Netherlands. It's like 40 miles from coast, from shore to shore. And each one of these lasers, I mean, the one in the Netherlands, they calculated if the curvature of the Earth, I think it's like 8 inches per 1 mile squared, or something like that, times 1 mile squared. Anyway, the point of it is, they said that the other shore, the other side of that lake, should be approximately 825 feet below us, below our line of view. But hell no, you can shoot a laser straight across the lake and it hits the other shore, and and they're seeing it in the whole 9 yards. And then you go over to Salt Lake City, they do the same identical thing, 20 miles, and I think the curvature, according to curvature mathematics, the calculations, the other side of the shore should be approximately 225 miles below your line of view. Well, guess what? Not only can you see the shore, they coincidentally they have a building there. It's almost 225 feet tall. You can see it from the bottom to the very top. Is this some kind of mirage? I don't think so.
That's what they would tell you, though. That's what they'll tell you. Well, that's refraction. It's refraction. And then they'll go to Lake Pontchartrain up in Washington, and they'll say, see, there's the curve. Because you optically see, it looks like a curve if you're in the right atmospheric conditions and if you're at the right perspective. Because
Correct.
when you go up in a helicopter and look at it, you can clearly see that it's flat as shit across the whole thing. And if we digress for a moment back to saying, oh, that's the curve, then you'd live on a ball the size of like Rhode Island.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, and yes. And I tell you, I've seen so many, we say, well, what about that globe from NASA? Well, when the hell was that picture they're using? When was that given to us? Like back in the 70s or something? Is that the one that we're going by right now?
They come out with one every year, and all of the space agencies, dude.
They're all different.
I track this like a religious zealot. Okay, I just do. So I'm telling you, you can take the Earth. They call it the blue marble. When you can take the blue marble and put it into a computer program and chop it in half and make devil faces out of it, dude. You can find the same cloud from 2004 and 2008 and 2012 and 2016. You can find them in the exact same places. The continents change, the colors change.
Yeah.
You want to go in between different space agencies, the whole damn thing changes.
Yeah.
but that's real. And I mean, they even admit everything they show you is an image.
Yeah.
Not a picture, meaning it's an image, meaning, I don't know, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it just upsets me that people don't want to grow beyond, who cares about flat Earth? I agree. Where are we? That's the question. And
exactly.
Then the observation that we make goes, oh God, well, not what they've told us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that we live on a flat Earth. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is there are some anomalies going on that are on the side of the flat earthers, about like the laser experiments and some of the other things. Like, I even talked to a guy. This was years ago. I was in Las Vegas with Josh and Pete Warren, and there was a guy that was from JPL, Jack Parsons Laboratories, formerly known, now it's Jet Propulsion, and he works in conjunction with NASA. And you know what his job was? I even have his business card to prove it. He photoshopped NASA photos. What the hell do you need to Photoshop NASA photos for? Why is there even a job for that? Why can't we have like the actual raw data from space? I figured, there's no secrets here. I mean, it's not like we're looking for missile silos in the middle of the Cold War or anything like that. I mean, why can we not see the actual real-time photos from a satellite, scanning the Earth, and doing all this stuff, and why do you have to have green screen for your space station? And, and you got
your astronauts all on wires and harnesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and their hair, boy. This is how dumb they think you really are, is because you can go back into the 80s and they'll show you pictures of them in the airplane that does the nosedive and actually simulates weightlessness. And you can see the astronauts bouncing around in there and doing their shit, and they're going all over the place, and it's a big padded fuselage, and the woman's hair is just all over the place. And then now they'll show you a video, and the moron has her hair sprayed up like from a Halloween thing, And then they'll say, the news anchor will say, oh, well, some people are saying that you're not really in outer space. And so what do you have to say to that? And then she just points at her hair and she goes, look at the hair. And then they go, heh. It's like, they've stopped even getting good actors. They're just like, whatever, dude. These people are so dumb. And plus we're winding down so much. They don't care anymore. I believe that this isn't going to last much longer. So they're like, do your worst. You found out everything. You know we injected you with straight up poison.
Well, we got
and did anyone get in trouble? Did anyone get in trouble? No.
No.
And it's not going to. We're on our own, folks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. And I, we have to be YouTube friendly here, as you know, but yeah, I'm just like you. I see this for the BS, the steaming pile of BS that it truly is. And when you got to ask yourself, okay, you've been lied to so many times, when are they telling you the truth? And I don't believe anything that's told me. I mean, my history is entirely different than what I was told. Maps, go through all this litany, the Mandela effect. That's where I was truly red pilled, when I realized I was living in an illusion, that I was living in a holographic universe, and this thing can change at the blink of an eye. Yeah. Exactly.
And how cool is that, though? I think it's cool as shit. And why would we not want to look into that more?
Yeah, and people say, well, what the hell does that have to do? Because I used to talk about this in radionics and say, well, what the hell does this have to do with radionics? Well, my point is, it proves to you that physical reality can change. What radionics is a hack into that physical reality, quote unquote. The thing that we perceive as physical reality is a hack into that computer program, into that hologram.
Yep.
Okay, and that's what it does. And really, the key to it is consciousness, whether it's human or non-human. The key to it is consciousness. For whatever reason, the Earth or the universe, it interlocks with consciousness, whatever it may be, and interlocks with intelligence and intent. With that intelligence, is able to change physical reality. Again, why do I think people use radionics? I think people were able to do this without any kind of machines whatsoever long ago. And I think we were dumbed down, or we were somehow or another, programmed not to realize just how powerful we truly are. Because I keep preaching to everybody, magic. You have the magic. You were born with the magic. The fact that you are a human being makes you magical. Even Jesus says this multiple times, just how much of a miracle you are, and that you can also have the power to perform miracles. And that's no BS. It can be done. You, I, Karen, everybody we know that's in the radionics community have seen things that we could say, well, that's either one hell of a coincidence or that's a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but go ahead.
I feel like I feel like I'm very tuned into that, because I mean, to me, it's just prayer. I mean, that's just the word I use. But it was never really, I don't pray like what most people would think of considering, prayer, like kind of buckling down and talking to God and asking him to protect you for this or that, or straight up asked for cocaine one time.
Okay.
I told you that. And I don't know that I wasn't like, I was just being like, I don't know what it is, and I'm tired of not knowing. So let's do this thing. It wasn't like, I don't know. That's just how I said it. And I literally, dude, I get everything I ask for. Every single thing. That's why where my discrepancy was, like, I want to map shit out, because when I pray for like out of my mind, oh, dude, the amount of detail I put in it now, because I've asked for things before without detail, and I get it, and I'm like, oh, shit. That's not what I wanted. Damn. So, and then I've heard many people say, be very specific when you pray. Okay. And so that's what this machine is to me. So it's a little different in that, like what you're saying, like maybe let it have a little bit more carte blanche, but your intention and what you want is set. You know what I mean? So you're not making the narrow path. You have to do it this way, which is also what they'll say in prayer is don't conceive how it's going to happen. Just that it will, because you might get in a car wreck, and then, now comes your thing. Oh, well, shit, I didn't want to have to pay $2,000 to get my fender fixed, but that led to my prayer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny how things work out. Again, I think I mentioned to you on your own on your show about I had a individual who was overseas had a legal situation, and I tell you, I think my uh what I did everything I could to help render the situation to get, to solve it. I mean, this thing was, involving Interpol, the federal government, a state government inside the United States. I mean, hell, everybody had their hands involved in this thing. I mean, this person basically is a victimless crime, but they're treating this like this person is a mass murderer type scenario. I mean, it's just one of those things. But anyway, neither here nor there. I personally, I try to micromanage a lot of the aspects of this thing, and I realize in hindsight, if I just set it for the main intention, which is for them to get their documents back or whatever, if I just did that and walked away from it, I think things would have been so much cleaner, and the outcome would have been so much faster and so much. It would have turned out a heck of a lot easier or a lot better than what it did. I mean, it's a great scenario. Everybody walks away, happy, but what happened was if I had not micromanaged the piss out of this thing, I think it would have been at the end of the day, it would have been a one cleaner operation.
Sure. Yeah, and that's like you said, that's experience. So you did that, and then now you feel like, well, maybe not micromanaging it is better. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, well, and I mean, this will be different because an actual device is going to be different than you just talking out loud.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
there'll be we're tapping into the same energy. That's what's cool
Mhm.
about it. That's what I like about it because it's like,
Yeah,
wow, dude. So,
yeah, and
and then
that's go ahead.
if that's able to happen, that means that machine's listening to you, like
Oh yeah,
for real, listening to you.
yeah. I mean, it becomes an extension of your consciousness, number one. And another thing too, I've noticed. I have this one machine. It's called the MagnaWave. I think it's made by the Case brothers in 1924. This thing is literally 100 years old. Okay, literally 100 years old, and it is by far. There's something strange about it. It has a personality to it. It has an energy to it, and it happens to be female. And as a result of that, we took the name MagnaWave and just call it Maggie. All right, and gave it a female's name because it has a female energy to it. And I've noticed these machines, they do develop personalities. I wonder if they're an extension of your consciousness or they're just taking part of your consciousness and becoming a bit of I don't know, I wouldn't say a ghost. What is like where you're able to create something a being mentally a Tomar or anyway.
I know
uh
what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The name escapes me, but the point of it is, I think they're starting to develop their own personalities. I think it's due to the fact that they're all unique. The components that are in them, no two devices are the same, and I think it's because the individuality of each one of these machines are able to create, for whatever reason, some kind of a personality about it. And again, it's very strange. It's a very strange technology.
Mm.
And again, I look at these things as an extension of your consciousness. It's just a tool. There's nothing magical about it. You are the magic. The operator's the magic. It's just a tool for you to use. Some people may use a pendulum. Some people may use tarot cards. Whatever their modality may be to accomplish a certain end. But this stuff, I just think of it as one-stop shopping. It doesn't interfere with anybody's religious beliefs. It does, whatever it has. It's just there to be used and served you to accomplish your intent. And that's the way I look at these machines.
Yeah,
Very
and you
cool.
and you know that one of the things I was thinking, Dr. Moder, is on the Apex, which is got orgonite, right? You made orgonite with it. And
Hmm.
orgon, as we know about the energy of orgon, it makes sense with Jonathan to say if you just turn that orgon device on, you've got that energy. And whether you want to call it orgon energy, prana, God, you go through like 25,000 different names or whatever to call the energy. It
Hmm.
is an energy. And as we know, the energy can be used for good and it can be used for bad as well. And is there bad or is there good? I was reading something this morning about, was very interesting about, is there really darkness? Because darkness is just the absence of sun, of light, right?
Hmm.
And you can get so deep into all of these subjects that, gosh, there wouldn't be enough Zoom hours to cover them all. But in my radionics room, I treat it with respect. I make it a temple. I call it my lab, but it's really a temple. So when I go in there, I try to always wash my hands before I go in there. Um, and I go in there with, I don't know, reverence and like, oh my gosh, I want to put the right energy out here. I never want to go in if I'm in a bad mood or something's really stressed me for that day. And I go in, I have some devices I know I'm very linked to. And there's one in particular that's actually in a crystal-like ball. And I'm very careful around that because I really even watch my thoughts because a few things have happened and I'm like, holy shit, I thought that. And then this thing happened and I shouldn't have thought what I was thinking because boy, it was bad, you know. I think Uncle Chucky would have had a laugh and liked that one
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I've even
that
built
happened. And I
machines.
won't go into it, but let's
Yeah.
just say it messed up someone's day. But so yeah, we have to be I mean, if you go into a church or whatever you go into, that it's making your space. And I think with Jonathan putting the device where it is, I think it's good though that Jonathan clears the room out because when he's working on people, he's working with their energies, and as he would already have realized, not everybody's energy is good. And I know Jonathan knows enough to clear himself. So a question I would have that I think a lot of listeners would have, Dr. Moder, is say Jonathan has a client in his room and their energy is really bad and all this negativity is coming out and who knows what else is coming out, and they leave the room and you've got your radionics device on and you feel like, oh, you even want to clear your radionics device. I
Mhm.
know some people would take a magnet a little way away from it and go around it with a magnet. Is there anything that you suggest, Dr. Moder?
All I would do is turn all the knobs back to zero. That's it. Just to reset the machine. That's all I do. Uh,
Yeah,
you know,
unplug it, turn it back to zero, which you should do
yeah,
every time, clear it. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's mine, right? It's not those other
And then
people's, and
think
and
if
it
in
knows
between
that.
operations, yeah, once I've run an operation and I turn everything back to zero and I always unplug it. And then afterwards, I just have this intent. And I've actually got a written intent out about all operations are cancelled on this device right now and everything is cleared. And because you never want to go, I know there's still some people that do this, but in the old days, Jonathan, there were a lot of people that, you know, especially in other countries in England, Europe, do radiance for health.
Mhm.
And in America, you know, we don't talk about it. It's illegal to do it here in America right now. But there is even people when they handle specimens that they will put gloves on because they don't want any part of their DNA to be on that device, or they don't want to take any energy from that person. You've got a person that you're doing a radionics operation on that has cancer or has Alzheimer's. You've got to be very careful and be aware of your surroundings and be aware of everything. And I think that's one of the reasons, if they ever made it legal, I don't think Dr. Moder would ever get into the healthcare of it, would
Oh,
you?
not at all. I'll stay away from it. I've dealt with people who've had, negative energies attached to them. I mean, they were like one person one day, and then next day they're totally, well, I consider borderline psychotic. I mean, I experienced this, oh, hell, a year and a half ago, and never again. This taught me one thing. Whenever I go on a trip, I always make sure you have a plan B to get the hell out of there at the drop of a hat. Okay, that was my mistake, but I digress. No, now my question to you, Jonathan, when you're dealing with somebody that's negative, and you feel like maybe some of that negativity or some of that negative energy may have attached to you, or may have uh, you know, it's messing with your energy field. How do you clear yourself? How do you protect yourself? That's something I'm interested in hearing.
Well, okay, cool. Because I don't feel anybody's energy affects me at all. And every single massage that I've ever given so far, and I plan to keep this, is that before they get here, I say a prayer in the room out loud, standing in front of the bed, and I say one of the. There's several things, but one of the first things is that no negative energies or negative entities are allowed in this house. And my
Mm-hmm.
front door is right next to the room that this is in. So there's two thresholds, but they're immediate. And one's like again, it's a family room, so it's like a big opening door. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
above above the door that I go into my room, it says no judgment. And on the other side it says thank you, right? So that's the room is there's no judgment in that room of any sort, so it makes people they don't even see that sign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? No one does. And then but they feel that when they get in there. They can
Mm-hmm.
tell, like I can relax. This dude's not weird. It's going to be cool. I don't mind if it's a guy touching me because believe me, I've had people over that are like, I'm not into the dude touching me. Almost everybody, all that are dudes, are like,
Yeah. Yeah.
at first they're
I,
like, this is weird, and then they're around me for 30 seconds and they go, oh, this isn't weird. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I know it's not. Like, I thought it was going to be weird too. I really did. I was like, oh, dude. I mean, I can give a massage to a woman, and I was like, it might be weird giving it to some big scraggly dude. And I had a few of those, and I'm like, it's not weird at all.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
yeah, I can understand.
you can't understand it if you don't get drawn to giving massages to people. Because
Yeah.
if I had been asked that before, I would have been like, I'd rather not do it. I just
Mhm.
won't. I'll just opt out. When you become a massage therapist, you can't do that. So
Yes.
it's like, oh, well, I guess I'll find out if it's weird. And no. And not only that, but both the two dudes that I did, the first two dudes I did really, were both like, yeah, I was leery, bro. It was cool as shit. Never once had any kind of awkward feeling at all, ever. I was like, right
Mhm.
on. So,
Mhm.
so there's that. Back to the energies. I don't let things come into my home. And I say, if anything does attempt to make it past that threshold or into this room, it's immediately pulled under the house and sent down into the ground and pushed back out for Mother Earth to deal with.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's simple. That's how I handle every client that comes into my house before I meet them or before I see them, or even if it's Lady Karen. I mean, I don't necessarily focus so much on the negative energies at this point because I know her. Not to say that she still couldn't have something attached to her that she doesn't know about and bring it, and that's not allowed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's not allowed. So I make sure every time I say that's just how it is. Now, where I wanted to go with this, like I want to astral travel. That's just one of the reasons I've quit smoking weed. And it's something that I feel like we as human beings don't know enough about because that's where you end up when you die.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and if you end up in a place and you don't know anything about it at all, when you leave your body and you've never been out of your body before, it's like being blackout drunk and then your best friend shows up and makes it all better. Oh, here, right this way. This is where you go. This is what you do.
Uh-huh.
And then back in here we come. Oh,
Oh.
shit on that. I want to know what that other realm is like so that when I do die, I go, oh shit, I'm dead. Cool. I know
Mhm.
what this world is. And then some dude shows up and is like, I'll tell you all the ways of the world. I don't need to hear it, bro. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm
Um,
not experiencing this, oh my God, what's happening? Save me,
uh,
someone. And then Jesus appears. You're like, oh God, there he is. Thank God. I knew it was real. And then in back here you come.
yeah, exactly. The device I use for something similar to that, it's called the psionic helmet. It was a device that was built or designed by a good friend of mine, Charles Casamano. And that device, you can use it for both remote viewing and for remote influencing. And in other words, if it's remote viewing, that's just a hop, skip, and a jump from astral travel.
Yeah. No,
And so,
yeah.
depending on your, I'm just saying this
And
thing.
lucid dreaming too. I'm into it,
Yeah.
man.
Mhm.
I want to do it. I mean, I wouldn't mind using a device to aid me, but I also want to do it naturally, like in my
Oh, of
bed, like
course.
sleeping. But just because I've heard stories and it scares the shit out of me, the concept of it, and I'm like, well, I'd like to try it. You know what I'm saying? And be like, wow, this is weird. I'm out of my body. I've never had that. I've had a
Oh,
couple of lucid dreaming moments, and that's in my entire life. Like
oh yeah.
two brief moments where I went, "Oh my God, I am dreaming," and it was like I was like, "I am God." I had that feeling, and then I woke right up, and I'm like, "Damn it!" I think
Oh,
it's because I
I
had like a megalomania complex that was immediately kicked in, and it's like, "Oh God, turn it off." Who
no,
knows? But
the
yeah,
first experience I had, Jonathan, was back in Glastonbury, England, and a lot of you guys and folks, I'm sure, have heard about Glastonbury. Um, very King Arthur, right? So I joined this group I would drive over and go to, and we worked on it. And this particular day, there was half a dozen of us in this room, and I left my body. I remember looking down and seeing everybody's heads, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Then I went further up, and I was looking down over Glastonbury. I could see the tour, and it was a little scary, but you're in the moment of like, oh my God, this is incredible. And so I do now know, remote viewing that the military does. That I left that room and I felt afterwards, it was a strange situation. I was with a friend, and afterwards we went to a pub and we got lunch. And when we were sat there, she said to me, she said, do you feel something? I said, absolutely, I do. I said, I feel there was one guy in the group that we didn't care for. It was just like, there's something not right with him. And we honestly believed he was remote viewing on us at that time. So we cleared ourselves, we kicked his ass and sent it back. And there was a lot of things like that. Then I walked away from that group because this person had some very bad energy and we didn't want to be around it.
Yeah.
But going back to the energy, because we jump from bit to bit, but Dr. Moder has a device called the neutralizer. And I don't think you've seen it, Jonathan. In fact, we got a figure on Dr. Moder's website. We're going to be changing it up in the next month, folks. And all of the devices will be on there. A lot of good information will be added to it. At the moment, though, there's only 2 devices on it, but he does have a device called the neutralizer. And that's a way that I take care of things. It's plugged in my house. It's set 24/7. It works even if the power goes out, and it puts a protection bubble field around me and my house. And a lot of people find that easier than having to think of, doing the whole protection thing yourself. Buy the neutralizer, plug it in, leave it. It keeps you safe. And then I also have other devices of Dr. Motors I set up if I'm going to do a trip, or there's a great little device that you can carry with you. And I think we were going to call it the Lady Karen box, weren't we?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Sure. Whatever. I don't care. You know,
the
Rose
small,
by any other name.
Yeah, the small little one that you can actually carry anywhere with you. I can put it in my purse. You know, if you're a man, you've got a man purse. If you're European, you can put it in, or put it in your fanny pack or bum bag, whatever you want to call it, and just take it with you. And there's so much, I mean, there's so many shows that we can talk. And Jonathan, you're like a sponge right now, radionics. I mean, there's so much out there that once you get into it, it just it's forever, isn't it, Dr. Moder? I mean, there's so many different ways you can go, and we can start talking about reagents, and you're not at that stage yet. But this is just, I think it's lovely to get somebody else on, and somebody that's new in this, but then also he's teaching me. I mean, I'm so much of what Jonathan says, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I met this young man. I do have one very important question for you, Jonathan.
Okay.
You know that really, really hot pepper that I gave you? Did it ever grow?
Oh, yeah. And there's a big ass pepper on it, too. And I'm about to take that thing off and dry it and then grind it up and put it on stuff.
That's like one of the hottest peppers in the world, I believe.
It's a scorpion, right? Or was it a Carolina Reaper? I can't remember.
I think a scorpion.
Scorpion. Okay.
Yeah, it was one of the really, like you gift somebody that you like units with a pepper that could kill them, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got 1 million Scoville units. So now, honestly, there's some crazies out there that are plant people that have hybridized and made a 10 million Scoville unit pepper. So I don't know that you can beat that. That like they have a special hot sauce. It's crazy. They do these hot sauce competitions. You can actually find it. It's on YouTube, and they get all these big stars, and they'll line them up, and all these people that you've known, and they'll go, it was really just to see where it goes. And the first 7 hot sauces are tolerable, right? Like you're like, oh, that tastes good, and it's got this flavor, and they get hotter as they progress up. You start getting to about 6 or 7, it's like, whoa, and then you go to 8, and it's like, all right, that's just, why would you do that to me? And there's 2 more.
Blood appears, then there's blood that comes, and you start bleeding from it, right?
Number 8, you're at 1 million Scoville units.
Well, once you grind it up, I'll take a little bit of that, because one of the things that, you were talking earlier, and we were talking about wanting to get people out of your life. And a simple thing you could do is make a homemade recipe of like a hot foot powder. And you make a hot foot powder, and you can, they can hot foot it away from you, right? I mean, that I think is an old like hoodoo type of thing or something.
Yeah. Well, I use that as basically as a reagent. Matter of fact, on 2 operations that I'm performing right now for people and get annoying people out of their lives is to use this hot foot powder. Whether or not there's something magical, quote unquote, about the hot foot powder is the fact that the thought form around it from all, thousands, if not millions of people using this type of formula to get, have annoying people walk away. The fact that it has that kind of a thought form, that kind of an energy surrounded, for me, that's all I need. And I will use this to basically for these people just to walk away. I'm not trying to harm them. You're not trying to hurt them physically or psychologically in any way. You're just trying to get them out of this person's life and whatever difficulties that they're causing because of some kind of, I don't know, some kind of psychotic issue they may have or psychological issue they may have, uh, for them just to get the hell out of your life. And that right there is the kind of thing I use. And people wonder about this magic stuff, these magic potions. Like when you put, some, couple of ingredients together and you think, okay, you got to have something magical. Where does that come from? Why does this thing become greater than the sum of its parts when you mix all these things together? What it is the magic behind it is the energy that you put into by mixing it, the intent behind the operator or the I don't know, we'll just say cook. Okay, the person that's putting all this stuff together, the intent of that operator or that person to put all this stuff together, that is where the magic comes from. It goes back, it's just energy. It's just a form of energy. You're transferring it from one thing to another. And I wonder, like how's a reagent? How do you make a reagent with a radionics device? What charges that that bottle or that card that may have some kind of a diagram on it? What gives it that special mojo? And again, is it the intent of the operator? Is the way these these ingredients are put together or formulated to create that kind of a magic? I think it's more the operator and more the thought form that's behind it than anything else.
In a way, it's just like if you were to take holy water, and the priest bless the holy water, right? As opposed to like if I'm putting something together, and I use a lot of reagents and I make concoctions for things, and I've kind of done some stuff where we've had some neighbors that have been annoying that I've had them just kind of leave me alone. My main thing is I don't want to hurt you. Just leave me the shit alone, right? Just don't mess with me, okay? Or mess with around here. But I've also done experiments with, for instance, flies this year and certain weeds and things like that. These horrible weeds that we grow, where I've used radionics on those by taking them. Some of them I burnt, made into like a charcoal type of thing, and used it in an outer phase, used radionics to keep them away. So a lot of what I've learned is you don't absolutely have to kill anything. There are people out there like, well, let's kill it. No, I don't need to kill all these flies. Mind you, I'd like to have a lot of them dead. But what I can do is I've used radionics. It's just like, I've made it uncomfortable for them to be here. So if they're not comfortable to be here, they're not going to breed. They're not going to be staying here. And I'm going to tell you, Dr. Motor, this is the first year I've done the fly reagent that I made. And we literally don't have hardly any flies. I have horses. I bring the horses in. I don't have to spray them that much. They don't have flies on them like some of my neighbors are covered up in flies. So, there are all these things that so much for Jonathan to learn, right, Jonathan? We get you on doing your first, reagent or making a reagent for something.
Well, I've already been thinking about it since you guys have been talking about it. I think I just want to, if nothing else, I'm just going to start weighting down the piece of paper on the sending with a 1 ounce gold coin. I mean, I don't know what that will do.
There you go. I mean,
but what a cool, because dude, if there's anything on this planet that is just universally revered, it's gold.
Yeah.
It's
instinctive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And so, I'm just going to start putting that on there. I don't even know, whatever. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Guys, I'm going to let you continue talking. I'll be back in a second. I just have to go get something for my husband a moment. It's his birthday today, and I will be back in just a second, okay?
Tell him happy birthday.
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Whom is her husband, and just one heck of a guy. I mean, he is he's one of those guys. He's very quiet, but he's one hell of an observer. You can see the wheels spinning in his head as he's talking to you. As you're talking to him. Right. And but yeah, just one heck of a good guy.
I've given him a couple of massages. Yeah, it's so I do know him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's just a awesome human being. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. But get kind of switching gears here since you and I got some time to kind of talk. What do you your personal opinion, why do you think, kind of going back to the Mandela effect, why do you think this thing happened? What do you think is going on in this computer program, this hologram that we call the reality? What do you think happened that made it all of a sudden people are becoming aware of how reality is changing? What do you think happened there? What's your theory?
I think it's always been doing it. we didn't ever have internet. We didn't ever
Uh-huh.
have mass communication. So how do you know if Cuba got bigger?
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't. But now, oh my God, dude, and there's so few of us. What the hell?
Oh man.
But I mean, honestly, I think it's been going on all the time.
Yeah.
Why that happens is because this is a simulation, and
It,
I don't think it can maintain a solid thing because it isn't real, and that's what's crazy. And us as magic beings in here
yes.
change it.
Mhm.
I mean, unconsciously, we just milling around and doing shit, right? And whoa, and then that's why because half those people don't know even see it,
Yeah.
and they're
Exactly.
doing it, so they're just. I mean, God, you talk about blackout drunk.
Oh yeah, it's amazing, and you can see it. You can meet people, and you can look in their eyes, and they don't even have a soul. You can just tell. I
Hi
mean,
guys, I'm back.
oh,
Okay,
okay,
cool.
yeah, they're just there filling space. I know this NPC thing, which is a phenomenon. I've noticed this more and more. Maybe I'm more aware of it, and I'm looking for it. It's kind of like buying a car. And once you buy the car, every other car you see is the
You,
same exact model, same
you're
exact
like, I
color.
thought I had one. Well,
Yeah,
now
exactly.
everyone has one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so now when you become aware of it, I mean, have you noticed this yourself, the changes in personalities that people are starting, whatever made them human or gave them that spark of life? Have you noticed that it seems to be hiding somewhere, if not disappeared?
Yep. Honestly, but a lot. I don't interact with very many people because I'm kind of home all the time.
Hmm.
So I really more am drawn to the people. Like I bump into people just happenstance. I don't really ever aim for anyone. And so honestly, most of the people that I encounter surprise the shit out of me because they're thinkers and
Yeah.
they're doing things, and I'm like, wow, you're blowing my mind. And I think it's where I am. This place is 20 miles from a ley line, and it's a high energy place. Like Karen was saying, look, dude, Chrissy is some sort of hub. And I know maybe you haven't met her, Dr. Mulder. I don't know. Maybe you have.
Mm.
You need to get a massage from her. Um, it's hard to explain, dude. Like she's a hub for people. Like Courtney was talking about how when she very first saw her, that like she felt like she knew her forever. And then Courtney got this like she'd already been doing massage for over a year, and then one massage from Chrissy, and she was able to go back to bodybuilding and doing all her own shit because she stopped hurting.
Mm.
One.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so folks like Jonathan, you've talked about Courtney, and people don't know who Courtney is. Courtney is a fantastic young lady, a very good friend of mine as well, and she is the most beautiful bodybuilder ever, isn't she, Jonathan? I mean, that,
Yeah.
that girl is ripped, but she also does some extremely she's opened up in the last year, and she does some fantastic spiritual work, and she's actually been known to take demons out of people.
She's an
She's
exorcist.
worked on yeah, she is. She's worked on my
In
husband
her
and I
words. In her
and
words.
done a couple of sessions with us. Yeah, in her own words. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is something that she fought for years and then realized that she had been given this skill set and she's using it now. So, I mean, she's the exorcist bodybuilder, right? And I've joked with her about it. In fact, she's coming over tomorrow afternoon to visit with us. So,
And one of the
yeah.
what's
And
so
then Chrissy,
cool
I mean,
about it.
Chrissy is, yeah,
Well, what's so
go
cool
ahead.
about it is just that she's so strong. And not and I don't mean just lifting weights. It's honestly she's really not that strong. Like if you want to put her up against like world's strongest woman, no. She's a bodybuilder. She has really good looking muscles and she is really strong and she has really good balance. But that strength of like doing it when you really don't want to, but you know that's what you have to do to be that thing that you want to be. That's the strength I'm talking about. And that's so much stronger than lifting weights, right? And so to get where she is, and then so that level of internal fortitude is what allows her to be such a badass at being an exorcist. Because like her strength is internal. It's just so like you can, and again, I met her 2.5 years ago. She didn't know shit. I met her and was like, I remember she had a Brazilian jiu-jitsu sign on her thing, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I want to learn jiu-jitsu. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a personal trainer, and I teach horse riding. And I'm like, oh, well, I need a trainer, too, so let's do that. And then, so that was how we started. And I asked her, I'm like, have you ever heard of David Icke? She's just like, nope. And I'm like, well, you want to blow your mind a little bit? And she's like, sure. Just as innocent as you can be, like, no clue what reptilians. No, dude, I've never heard of any of this shit. She borrowed that book and brought it back like a month later and had read the whole thing. I was floored. I was like, oh my God, no one does that. And so from there, now we're here where she's exercising people. I mean, just to the point of she didn't know shit about, like, I don't know, whatever you want to say, the universe.
So I joke with her, Jonathan. I said, you're exercising people and you're exorcising people.
Yep.
Yeah, I worked out with her for about 2 years, and then I had that shoulder injury, and I, hadn't got back with her because she's booked. She's booked all the time. And then Chrissy's a fantastic young lady, and she's just, her skill set is unreal. I mean, not only is she the best yoga, Pilates, Thai masseuse probably in the world, I would imagine. She just knows. I mean, if she's working on you energetically, she knows where to go to this area, and
her intuition is just off the chart.
Yeah, and there's so many people, and I think right now the way that the world is going, and I was talking to, in fact, Dr. Moder and I will be doing a show with Multidimensional Sarah on Thursday evening.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Same time the Crypt Rick and Jonathan shows.
Okay, never. He's muted. Yeah. Thursday evening we'll be doing a show with Sarah, and she's talking about so many people getting awakened and enlightened. And I knew all my life I had abilities beyond what I thought I should really have. And then you're told you shouldn't have them. So guess what? You don't use them. And now I'm back to like opening up and using them and thinking and listening. And I'm not going to say I'm a tree hugger, but going out there, listening to nature, and the messages that come through sometimes, or just knowing, like yesterday, knowing like, hey, I need to call Jonathan. I knew Jonathan, my friend, my buddy, was in distress over something. And it's happening to more people every day, right?
It is. I would call myself a tree hugger. If you actually ever go out and do it, you'll grounding is one thing. Wrapping yourself around a tree, that's another level. Like, seriously, like, it's a living thing. And it's weird to that's where I want to get into. I want to find somebody who knows and can explain how the livingness works in the hologram. How does the seed germinate and grow in the hologram? It's a hologram. I get that. But where's the I guess it just has to be an underlayment of God in everything still, just because even though it's an artificial construct, like, it's laid over beings that are still in with God. That's the only thing I can come up with, because I've gotten so deep into like the reflection and the fact that we're in a hologram, and now I'm trying to like digress back into the things that I know are still real-ish to my brain. Like, well, I can plant a thing and I can watch it grow, and then I can cut it down and I can eat it, and that seemed pretty damn real to me. And at the same time, like, so where does that essence come from that does all that? And I would just say that it's just still the essence that, like, when you pray in here, or when you see a miracle that, you know, is like somehow God, however you want to determine that. Like, I've had those things. And so even though this is an absolute artificial reality created by the devil, trapping your soul, and this is an absolute slave planet, God still is in here, in all this. It's just that he's in us.
Yeah, we are the magic.
Yes, he's in us, folks. No one else. And no one else is here but you.
Exactly.
And that's the hard part to get, because I know you're a real person and a separate consciousness than me. But somehow you're a reflection in my awakening in this place, or in my conscious level in this reality. You guys are all reflections of where I'm at. I wouldn't have met you otherwise.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have anything to do with each other when it was not a bad or a good thing. It's just, it was how it would be. And so it's just really crazy to see how, dude, it's just mind blowing to see how all this works. That's all.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll give you an example. When, for any animal, when the sperm hits the egg and the egg becomes fertilized, at that very instant, it gives off a spark, a visible spark. It's a spark of life. That right there, I think, is where it becomes a part of the matrix. That's when it becomes a living thing. That's when the clock starts ticking.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
moment.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
It owes the time has set in. Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's the difference, folks, really, and that's what I've gathered in a lot of the stuff I've just now recently figured out is that, and we know this, everybody will say, "Oh, I know. Time's not real. Time does not go from here to there in a line like what we experience."
Hmm.
And moreover, it's all happening all the time, which is so hard for our pea brains to figure out. That's part of that's why these bodies were given to us.
Hmm.
Because we can't decipher it. We can't quite comprehend what the hell is wrong. And
Yeah.
so shit, I lost my thought. But anyway, that's these bodies were given to us to keep us confused, and we can't quite figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it gives us limitations. That's what it
Yep.
does.
Oh,
And
and needs.
yeah,
Sex and
exactly.
food and drugs and oh god, I need this. I'm agitated. I'm irritated. I need this. I want this for me. My body says this. Get addicted to something and then tell yourself it's time to stop. You'll see
Yeah.
how much the body actually controls the shit out of you.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking to Dr. Hume about where does consciousness resides? Because the guy, he understands the human mind. The human mind to him is the laboratory. That's his laboratory, is the human mind. And we kind of wonder, we're debating here, does it reside inside of the brain, or does it reside in that energy field that surrounds the body? Where does consciousness truly resides? And is the brain basically sort of a neural network where the consciousness interacts with the body, where it feels, okay, you feel pain, that means there's some harm to the body. You feel happiness, it means the body's in a good place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all of that feedback that you're getting. But truly, where is the consciousness? Where is the Jonathan? Where's the Dr. Mulder? Where's the Karen? Does it reside in that bag of cholesterol that's between your ears, or does it reside in that field that's around you that they call, I guess, they what do you call it? Kirlian photography,
Curlian.
Kirlian photography, where they're able to see the auras of things, living things. Now, again, that's a big question. That's where I always, I try to figure this thing out, because if consciousness does not reside inside of the brain, then that does open us up for other things like, remote viewing, astral projection, yeah, 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 a million different things, because we're not attached to this body. We are attached, but we're not attached, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that it's in there's a cavern. There's an empty void in your brain,
Okay.
right directly behind your third eye.
Okay.
So I would suggest I would submit there. And I've been told there is where you are. And I'm like, okay,
Oh.
well, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe,
okay.
right? Grain of salt. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that person seemed pretty confident and it makes sense. Oh, there's a big hole in my brain, like an empty void in there, right behind my third eye. Huh. Interesting.
Right.
Sounds like where a spot of consciousness could hang out. and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and then immediately exercise itself out into the brain and start doing shit. But it's not the brain.
Yeah. And I have a good friend of mine. This guy, he's one hell of a electrical engineer. I think he got back into the satellite industry when we had the 6 foot, big dishes and all that kind of thing. He was like one of the early pioneers of the marketing of that stuff.
Mm.
But he kind of he asked me, he said, how tall is the average human? And I said, I kind of figured it was a trick question knowing him. I said 5.5 to 6 feet, somewhere in that neighborhood. He said, wrong. The average human is approximately 264 feet in diameter. And what the point he was trying to make was that the energy field that comes off of our bodies is almost 265 feet in diameter. That's a fraction less than the size of a football field.
Right. Drunvalo Melchizedek talked about that.
Tell me more. Oh, great one. Ah,
Fantastic book, dude. Part 2.
okay.
Oh, dude, it'll blow your mind. There's so much cool shit in these books. It's insanity, bro. Dude, it's like insanity. And it's all these different and this is old shit. This is but it's still pertinent. It's really good, dude. But he talks about that. He talks about being an angel and he was not allowed. This came out in 93 or 4.
Okay.
He was like, I'm not allowed to tell you some stuff, so that's just how it's going to be. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Reading this back in 90, when I was reading it was like 98 or 99. It was just like, I knew I was reading stuff that if I told people about it, they'd be like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's where consciousness was back then. But I was like, oh, this is real shit. Why would they write a book like this? Where did this come from? You know what I mean? I don't know how I found that book, but I used his bibliography to find all my other books. I mean, he's like, well, I read this book and this book. I'm like, holy shit, look, let's go find these. And then that's where my education started. I mean, just whoa. And you kind of have to take people's words for it, right? He says he's an alien or an angel that was, he said, here's how he got into that body. He said, this was planned from beforehand. And when this dude hit 30 or some shit, he was pulled out of his body and he was sat down in front of a council, basically, with this dude who's now saying he is this guy, Drunvalo Melchizedek. And he was made an offer. We need your body. We would like your body. We're not going to steal your body. Here's what we're offering you if you'll be willing to give us your body. And apparently he said yes. And the deal was, the guy writing the book now who took the body does not know what the guy was offered. He's like, I don't know what they offered him, but he gladly accepted. Interesting. That's
wow.
Right. And I'm just like, and then you see the dude's picture and you hear him talk and you see he puts on workshops. He's not like he's not hidden. And he's he feels good. When you see him, you're like, I don't know. He might, some of his stuff might not be 100% or whatever, but I don't feel he's out there trying to steer you wrong or tell you lies, right? So it's very interesting shit. Drunvalo Melchizedek.
Wow, that's interesting.
The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. And so to sum it up, I mean, basically, he's saying that about the energy field that, I mean, we're bigger than the actual physical body that.
That's where we do. He talked about that, and he showed a picture of it. I tried to find it, but dude, out of 400 pages, I'm not going to be able to go. Here it is. Look. But yeah, that's exactly it. He shows a dude standing there, and then he shows the energy field going way out, like what you said. And I'm like, oh, dude, weird.
Yeah, I mean, how come is it that you have your back to somebody and you know that they're staring right at you? I mean, how do you know this?
Yeah.
Because they're part of your energy field. You are able to pick up on things. It's kind of like walking into a room. And you've probably done this before. Everything was perfectly normal, but you think, oh my God, somebody had one hell of an argument in this place. I can feel the energy. Where did this come from? Yeah, it's like a borderline crime scene, but everything looks in order. That kind of thing.
I mean, can that be the same? Are ghosts really ghosts? I mean, some areas you think, is it a ghost that you walk in, or is it just energy that has been left there from whatever happened? It's not a ghost; it's just that energy.
Yep. And it can be up to a ghost, but then there is that question: what the hell is a ghost? I mean, because I've watched a lot of ghost shows, and there's so many different types, right? Like some of them you can see. Some of them clearly look like a VCR just got stuck, and it just plays this little clip over and over, and there's no interacting with it. It doesn't do anything different. It doesn't do it all the time, but when it does, it's this woman walking from there to there, and that's all that happens. That's kind of like, to me, like an imprint. And then there's you go lay down in the bed and then something whispers into your ear. So then there's that level. You know what I mean? Like there's different levels of ghosts. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then and that ties into radionics because it's all part of this, again, the astral world that we don't know jack shit about on purpose. How many books have they burned in this realm? If you were to just pull out a number, thinking back now, remember they took out Alexandria. How many books do you think they've burned in this, or just hidden, kept for themselves under the Vatican? And what do you think those books might talk about? You think maybe there's a whole volume that discusses what to do when you die, or how to prepare for death? I bet there are. I bet there are. And they don't want us knowing that because, well, damn, then they'll figure out how to get out.
Well, jeez. Yeah, and again, the more I delve into this, the more I realize, how we truly are a sovereign. And it's up to you. You're the one who has to make the decision to be sovereign. Nobody can do this for you. It's like it's like an alcoholic. You can't quit drinking alcohol unless you decide, I'm going to quit drinking alcohol. That's the way it works.
That's the
you
only
are
way
the
it
first
works.
step.
Yep.
You are the first step. Yeah, you can get help from other people to assist you, but you're the one who has to make that decision.
Yep.
You
You
control your
won't do it.
destiny.
I've watched way too many people, dude. I mean, you know, my sponsor, he even had to like, I guess I'll take you on. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh shit, I almost didn't get accepted into the program. Holy shit. You know, that made me be a little bit more like, okay, dude, we got to do this shit. It was such a hard decision.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because, dude, the whole point, the where alcoholism comes from is because that first drink of the day, you stop caring immediately. You're like, I know I shouldn't be doing this. And that first drink, you're like, oh, it'll be fine. And then you just go about the rest of your day.
Hmm.
Wow, it's dangerous. At least that's what went on in my head. And it took, I don't even, man, dude, the world had to just about squish me.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I'll give. I mean,
Hmm.
it beat me up bad, dude. And I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And wow. I look back on it and I'm like, good God, how did I even make it through a day, bro? I'd wake up to go to a job that I had to be there by 6. I'd wake up at 4:30 and I'd slam, you know, 5 probably shots worth of vodka. And that would get me to work at 6. I'm just sitting in the truck and waiting and going down there and blah blah blah. And then sometimes that was all. But
Yeah, yeah.
if I didn't have piss tests or anything that day or whatever, then I would usually have a bottle with me and I'd sneak off and I would be drinking all day long. And you'd never know. Never.
Wow.
I got pulled over, dude. I got pulled over so many times. You been drinking? Sometimes I'd say yes. In Colorado, I never said yes. In South Carolina, I said yes every time. I never got arrested once in South Carolina for DUI or anything like that. In Colorado, I told them no every time because if they even think, I mean, it's just you're arrested. Oh, you've had a beer? Come on, let's go. It's just like, wow. So, but yeah, no, I got pulled over several times, dude. I had to reek. I mean, I've been drinking vodka all day and I'm 2 feet from the cop at my door. I'm trying to like speak without letting any air come out of your mouth.
Uh-huh.
These are all new little inventions you come up with when you're like, when I'd go home and kiss my woman, I'd breathe in my mouth. Very, very, very so subtly as I was reaching out to kiss her because I know she was sniffing. I'm like, you know what I mean? So she's like, oh, I couldn't tell. It's all about sneaking around and not getting caught and thinking you're better and all that shit. Oh, dude. Horrible.
Mm.
Alcohol. What a
Yep.
horrible thing.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
And then what is it? It's called spirits.
Yeah.
And it's because it's kicking your consciousness out of the machine. And then something else is just sitting there waiting and going, God, finally. And then they take over.
Oh yeah, that's usually not very pleasant. I mean, I've noticed. Why do people get rambunctious when they get drunk? And why do they say things they normally would not say when they get drunk? Yeah, uh, it's a good way to. You can make more enemies than you will friends while drinking alcohol. I'm just saying. I've seen it with my own eyes. You
And
know.
it's the best thing you've ever done. Maybe not to just quit drinking if you have a few beers a day or whatever. That's
Yeah.
probably not going to be the best thing you've ever done. But when you were where I was and you've come to now where I am, I didn't even know that this was a part of life. You know what I mean? I didn't know life could be like this. And
Mhm.
that happened so long ago in my journey that it's just the way it is now. But
Mhm.
it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, like I said, sure. If I had a few drinks in my life, well, of course. Especially when I was down in Mexico, that's how I coped for 6.5 days. It was through tequila.
Yeah.
But that's another story. Anyway, but no, yeah, so it's one of those things where we all got our demons, and you were able to kick your demon's ass, and more power to you, man. Congratulations. I've been around people who've had similar issues and they overcame them themselves. And I knew it was a lot of work. It wasn't easy.
No. Nope. And you know what's funny though is it actually kind of was easy when I finally did it. I tried to quit like 15 times. So
Hmm.
no, it's not easy because 14 times. And in those 14 times, I was kicked out of the house probably 10 and had to go find somewhere to stay for a week.
Hmm.
I mean, you know how hard that is to do to yourself? And then
Oh
go
yeah.
to a job, pretend like everything's fine, go home, sleep on a floor of a house that's being sold by one of your friends who has to call you sometimes and be like, you got to get all your shit out and go somewhere. People are coming to look. And you're laying there drunk. Oh,
Wow.
God, dude, it's like you try to make it hard for yourself. It's just like get up every day, put 200 pounds in a backpack, and then just do the rest of your day with that.
Jeez. Yeah. So basically, you're limiting yourself.
Oh my
Why?
God.
Why do we self destruct? I mean, hell, we are all guilty of it. Why do we self destruct? What is going on inside of our brains that makes us want to, just kind of limit ourselves and our capabilities?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It
I,
is.
you
It's
know,
an interesting question, and I mean, it's the dual nature of things. It's the what is it? The
the
Native
yin and the
American
yang.
Indian thing that says
Yeah.
it depends on which wolf you feed,
Oh yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly. And and I think we're given choices, and again, I think it's part of the education. We're all here. What is the true meaning of life? That's something the great sages of religion and philosophy have always asked. What is the true meaning of life? Why did you take your first breath? What was the reason for you to exist? And I've come to the conclusion that basically it's just a giant university. It's just a school. We're here for personal development. And
Yeah, that's
whether we pass or fail, that's entirely up to us.
yep. I would say that's how I used to look at it. That's how I used to look at it. And more recently, I think it's that we've just been enslaved. Truly, we came in originally to a program to try to fix something, to try to help, and then this thing got created and overlaid us, and we didn't know what we were getting into. And
Hmm.
now we're trying to get the hell out. So you can look at it like, oh God, well, I mean, how do you get out of here? Well, you better start learning.
Yeah,
You better be in school. You better not just be watching Seinfeld and checking your texts, right?
yeah.
I
There's
mean,
more
that's
to
an old
life than that.
reference, I guess, Seinfeld, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It's just
yeah. I get it. I
you
totally
can't,
get it. Yeah, exactly. And
you're doomed, man, if that's what you're doing. And I mean, dude, and that's the way this universe works is that you're a reflection of yourself. So when you die, if you haven't graduated, you'll just come back. And
yeah,
in the
yeah,
end, no real big deal. You didn't know that there was any out to get to before. So you're not bummed when you come back. You don't know shit still.
yeah.
It's
You know,
literally the truth that ignorance is bliss at that point.
yeah. And I tell you what changed my entire outlook on this reality, on how I interact with it, interact with the matrix, is basically I ask myself this one question: who is the king of the world? Who truly runs the world? And you can say, "Oh, the president of the United States." No, no, he's just a pawn in this giant game. You can say the Rothschilds. No, no, it's beyond them. There's other families, royal families, that kind of thing in Europe that supposedly no, it's beyond them. When you finally get to the very top of that pyramid, who or whatever it is, I'm willing to bet everything I have does not contain one strand of human DNA. There's no way in hell could a human being come up with a chaotic cluster fornication that we have right now. No way.
Hmm.
You have to be insane. But then again, where that insanity comes from? Who's calling the shots to make? And it's always about causing conflict between us. Whether it's the color of your skin, your religion, whatever. There's always conflict. Everybody's trying to cause a damn war. Oh, he has more of what I have. I want what he has, and he wants what I have. And so you cause a conflict there. It's always about conflict. Well, I think that conflict is their food. They work on that, what they call it, luge, the fear and the anger and all that, all the negative emotions. That's what's fueling whatever it is that runs the world.
Yep.
What's your opinion?
I say 100%. And I think that these bodies were designed with chakras in them
Hmm.
by a god of sorts, but not the god that everybody likes to think created these bodies. And they put those chakras were added to us so that the ones that are on that same team can drink off of us. There's nothing else there. Those chakras are not there for any reason for us. They don't benefit us.
Hmm.
This is the thing. This is what I've come to realize and understand. Yes, you can tap into those energies and you can open them and you can feel them when you start doing this meditation stuff. I and it's funny, Karen, were you in the class when I asked Chrissy this? Oh my God, over a year ago. And I said, "Have you ever heard of chakra removal?" And she was just like, "What?" And I'm like, "I heard a guy who does chakra removal." And I had never heard of that. I didn't know why. It was just somebody told me that that's what the guy did, and that was it. Didn't have no other explanations. I'm like, oh, it doesn't even seem right, because my mind back then was like, How could you remove like what you are and what God created you with?
Mhm.
That was my first question. And then I learned more and I went, oh, so now I understand which God actually made these bodies. And then that makes more sense. And then it's like, oh, because they constantly break down, they need sex, they need hunger, they want drugs, they want all this shit, and it's usually really bad for you. And you have to tame the beast. We were put into a beast so that wherever we actually are is, and so your actions still matter, even though this is a video game. So if you're doing profane shit here, the mirror image, inverse world that we are actually in, you're doing that shit there too. So you're being a profane monkey in the real world by doing it here. And the Satanists, I believe, have just been told that it doesn't matter, right? Like this is an illusion. They got that part right. It's all reincarnation is a thing, so they understand that. Do they understand the getting out part? Even if they did, they're worshiping Satan, so they like being here, which I believe means that they've figured out a way to keep reincarnating these people specifically. It's kind of like, why the hell would you be a Satanist? Well, if I get to have all the money and I get to be a Hollywood star and I get to be above all of you trash every time because we've figured out how this shit works and I know I can be pulled back into another body and be given the same shit, I'm in the club still. That's how there's a club. That's how they have all the money in this place. This club has been going for thousands and thousands of years. And they don't have to keep convincing new people. It's the old same shit coming back in. That's why they're so damn smart.
Yeah.
And they just don't want to leave. That's why they're looking for life extension technology. My God, dude, I don't want to live here forever. Holy cow.
No, I think the grass is greener on the other side, from
I
what I
think
can
this will
tell.
be an interesting experiment, and when it's over, I hope I've figured out how to get out. And if not, whatever, it'll be what it is. But
Yeah.
I'm not looking for, oh God, give me a shot so I can live to be 900. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be like, oh, that's hell. You put me in hell. Oh no, I can't get out of here for 900 years.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen how the world's changed since the 1960s.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's no,
Wow.
I couldn't envision this dystopian type society that we have now. We didn't have the tech for it back then. Now we
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Now, yes, Big Brother can actually, spy on you 24/7. Matter of fact, you willingly let him do it when you carry around your smartphone.
Yep. I was just watching a movie last night with my mom, a Clint Eastwood movie called Absolute Power, where he's like a badass jewel thief and he breaks in
Yeah, I
and he
remember.
catches
Yeah.
he sees the president doing ill shit. And it's like, oh, damn it. I'm losing my train of thought. What were we just talking about? What did we say right before that? The surveillance. He steals all this shit and then he's got all his money and he takes it to his vault and then he's on an airplane and he's getting ready to, or he's at the airport and he's getting ready to leave. And I'm like, I look over at my mom and I'm like, do you realize how easy it was to steal shit back then? Because they'd flash to the cops and they'd flash to the Secret Service and they're all, who was it and where'd he go? And they chased him and they got a picture of his car, but that's all they got. And I'm like, oh my God. Wow, dude. You don't have 5 minutes now that you're not on 10 cameras.
Oh yeah. I
It
mean,
wouldn't,
hell,
I'm like, oh, this movie wouldn't work now. It just wouldn't work.
yeah. I think London is probably one of the most. I think they have more cameras per capita than any other city in the world.
Yep.
The people of England are probably under surveillance more than any other population in the world right now. I mean, we're talking about China and North Korea.
Yep. And they have a TV show and they actually say that on the TV show. They're like, the UK has blah, blah. They say exactly what you said, but they sell it as a cool thing. And then they show you all the videos that they have on people doing dumb shit.
Oh God.
It's crazy, dude. Yeah, TV sucks. I mean, I haven't seen that forever.
Yeah.
And actually, I
Well,
finally have gotten rid of TV. But I have to have something to entertain my mom. So now, I mean, I've just downloaded the shit out of movies, and I just have a movie player, and I
yeah.
basically create a channel every day of movies that are decent.
Yeah.
Most of them we've watched 50 and 60 times, but it is
Oh
what it is.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's really incredible what what's going on in this society. And like hell, I haven't watched TV. I don't think in the last 12 years. I gave it
Wow.
up. Oh yeah, because I realized it's called television programming for a reason. It's
Hmm.
there to program you. I think it's basically to preload you for a certain idea, or what they call, what's there's a term for it, and it's on the tip of my tongue, about basically where they're just
Predictive
psychological,
programming.
yeah, predictive
I
programming
knew
where
what
they're
you were
setting
thinking the
up.
minute you said that, and I'm like, oh damn it! Now he made me not think of it. Oh, let's get it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it finally popped in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'll give you an example. I knew that we were going to have a black president because, for example, we were seeing movies that had black actors as president. I already saw it. It was being preloaded. It was already for that. And that's just an example. That's
You
just
know,
one of many examples.
you want to know one of the nastiest ones is that in The Simpsons and that those people. I mean, it's almost like, well, if they said it, buckle up. And so they put Lisa Simpson in a purple dress and white pearls as the president
Hmm.
in a future that Bart was dreaming of back, and they just put Kamala Harris on the stage 2 weeks ago in that exact outfit. They literally put the two things up next to each other, and you're like, "Yep, that's what they're doing." So
Yeah,
like, dude,
yeah.
they and when the Simpsons says shit,
Yeah,
I mean, so far everything that they've been shown to have said that has happened now, it's like, oh my god, it's like 30 things. It's not one or two. Wow.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
think they're using the looking glass technology. Truly. You,
Yeah, I've discussed that also.
James L. Brooks, that
Please
dude specifically, he
go
is,
into this. This is fantastic tech.
yeah,
Please
dude,
proceed.
James L. Brooks, I mean, clearly he's a Jew, and he's one of the top Hollywood people, but he has made movies. He made some uh, connection. Well, so he does The Simpsons, and then there's Robert Zemeckis too. And they did a movie about, okay, so if you look at the all the little things throughout Back to the Future that tells you 9/11 Twin Towers is going to happen,
Hmm.
it's unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
they tell you that the Twin Towers are going to come down on 9/11 due to Arabic terrorists. I mean, it's like, wow, dude. I mean, literally. And then um, you can see a movie that came out, the numbers are all crazy. So in that movie, he fast forwarded like 30 years or something. Where he went to in the future is then when this new movie was put out about the Twin Towers, about a guy from France coming over and putting a cable between the two towers and walking it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
same dude, and same dude directed it and did it at that same exact time. So there's some, and it's beyond my pay grade. So I'm just noticing these weird coincidences, and it's like that's not a coincidence. I have no idea how to connect those dots
Yeah.
completely, but like, wow, dude, these people are, so they're clearly using some sort of like, especially in The Simpsons, what I would suggest or has been suggested to me that is a the looking glass technology where you can like look into the future.
Yeah.
You would probably be looking into a potential future, and there's probably ways that you could I don't know, say radionics the
Hmm.
machine kind of and say, here's the reality that we want you to look into, and maybe that's the one that they get. And if they know that they can control a good bit of the bigger parts of that future to come, hey, that is the one they'll get.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know,
Oh
but that, how does the Simpsons predict like 30 things, Trump, all this shit?
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I tell you the thing that got me. Speaking of radionics, the idea hit me. I'm really good friends with a guy who's a computer scientist, and we discussed this very same thing. We feel because of quantum computers. I don't know if you know that much about them, but according to a guy by the name of Gordy Rose, he runs a D-Wave computer company out of Vancouver, Canada, which is supposed to be the largest manufacturer of quantum computers. And somebody asked him, "Well, how does a quantum computer work?" He said, "What it does is exploits the resources of other dimensions." That's what he said. It exploits the resources of other dimensions. So, or maybe other realities. Who the hell knows? But the point of this is that quantum, when the world of quantum, time and space are irrelevant. You know, from they say, well, how these things are they're super fast because they can solve a problem in a few minutes where it takes a supercomputer years, if not thousands of years, to solve. Well, in reality, what's going on there is, from your perception, it's a few minutes, but the perception of the quantum computer itself, it's thousands of years.
Hmm.
It's time is irrelevant
Oh,
to
right.
the
Yes.
to the computer.
Yeah.
So my point of this is, I feel that radionically these quantum computers can be hacked. And if they could be hacked, they could be used. You could
Oh.
ride their coattails, and they're time travelers.
Oh, wow. Yeah, dude.
You could turn a quantum computer into a time traveler, and you don't have to leave this reality, this time. You can, just by radionically hacking a computer, you'll be able to change either the future or the past. That is a thesis, or a hypothesis I have right now concerning the power of radionics, the power of the human mind, because these things are analog.
What if, dude, what if the Mandela effect is a bunch of
Is
people that are doing that? And they're like on
that you
purpose
just took
picking
that's
shit out and going, I just want to change this. And then they do it.
that
Oh my God. And it's like a whole cult. It's a cult of them doing it.
you just fell into where I was taking this.
Right,
Because if you're able to control a computer, a quantum computer, and that quantum computer is basically a time traveler, it will be able, just by observing, change with physical reality for you. I mean, it's not going to be an issue.
And that's why they go back and forth, because people
Yeah.
keep fucking with each other. Sorry, I didn't mean to say the F word, but damn,
Yeah,
dude, they
it's
keep messing
okay.
with each other. And yeah, dude, so it's like, oh, Cuba's big, oh, Cuba's little, oh, the South
Yeah.
America's over here, it's back over here.
Exactly. And doing it, and because I mean, if you obviously you're going to use AI in conjunction with this, and AI, they think, oh, it's an evil thing. No, AI is like it's no more evil than a calculator. It's like
The stoplights are AI.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Stoplights
exactly.
were the first AI.
Yeah, exactly. It changes its patterns due to the traffic, and so, and people look at that, oh, it's all evil. No, it's not evil. It's the people that are trying to program it are evil. That has nothing to do with the actual science itself. That's entirely two different things.
Yep.
But no, AI, in conjunction with this, can you imagine what the hell can be done? I'm wondering, again, some of the crazy things I'm seeing. I wonder if it hasn't already been done, and what we're seeing is a result of that experiment.
Yep.
That's where this has been on the back of my mind. I've been thinking about this for almost a half a year now.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Oh yeah. So it's definitely, I think it can, the average person, I think, really, in a matter of a few years, the technology is going to catch up with them, and they can integrate radionics in with computers or quantum computers easily. It's
Yeah.
not going to be because, again, space and time are irrelevant in the scenario. That is the sticky wicket. That is the what they call in Dune, was the mind poison. The poison of the mind was fear, or something along that line. And your mind is distance. You're thinking, oh, physically. No,
Right.
it has nothing to do with this anymore. Time has nothing to do with this anymore.
Yep. And again, if you go off of what I'm thinking about and looking at, their distance, that's all made up, dude. When you listen, when you look up, you're not seeing anything far away. I don't care if you're, what about that galaxy? You were told it was a galaxy by liars. That's my answer to everything you're going to ask me about. Well, what about that? What about this? What about that? You were told that by liars. You were told that by liars. You were told that by liars. All you know when you look up is it's black and there are lights. That's all you know. And we do have visible footage of rockets going up and hitting a layer that looks like water. And I've been told that there is water hovering way up there, hovering because we're in a big magnet. And there is a giant layer of water before the firmament, and then more water.
That
makes sense.
Yeah.
If you saw water hovering up above you, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You'd be like, that's not even possible. What is that when Elon sends his rocket ship up and it hits a certain point, and then there's no other explanation for what you're looking at than it looks like it's traveling through water? I've seen the videos, and they've seen it's on TV. It's like, what do you call that? That's not smoke. So,
and and I always get this thing about the satellites. Oh, well, how the hell can we have satellites? I'm going to tell you, Jonathan. I was talking to this guy who, I'm assuming he looked like he was a highly intelligent man and well educated, and he worked in conjunction with the space shuttle program. And I asked him, I said, what's this deal with helium? He says, oh, we're constantly releasing weather balloons. I said, well, but you're like the largest consumer of helium in the entire world. What are you doing with it? And I started bringing what was that balloon that supposedly was coming over from China, and
Yeah.
it was coming across, and we were seeing this thing, and it looks like a satellite to me. That's what it's looking like to me. But it's, I'm wondering, why didn't you shoot it down if this is coming from a quote unquote potential hostile country?
Mhm.
I mean, a normal sovereign nation would do that.
Instantly. Instantly. And then check it out and see what it is. But they
Yeah.
lied to us. They let it go, and then they're like, "Well, we took it out and it's in the ocean. Oh, we can't find it." Such
Oh,
liars.
bullshit.
I know. It's like, well, you,
Bull.
you found it in Montana, and then you shot it down off the coast of South Carolina. What?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it just doesn't. None of their shit makes sense. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what we have. Listen. Alex Jones was asked about this, and because he's a glober. He thinks it's a globe, and that's at least that's the stance he takes on TV. And then he has people on that are flat earthers, and they're like, "How do you think that you get a perfect still satellite when we're going this way and this way and this way and
Yeah.
four of them and then this way? All these motions are happening all at once, and we've got a satellite that can go up there." And his answer is mathematics. What an easy out. Oh, math does that.
Huh. Well, they can
In a
say,
6,000-mile-an-hour orbit, it
yeah.
stops, locks on, and finds it. And they go, math, really? He goes, well, it says something about gravity. I mean,
Oh,
people
yeah,
just,
yeah.
our imaginations got raped. That's what pisses me off about it. That's why I harp on it so much, and that's why I
Yeah.
talk about it constantly, because it doesn't matter what it actually is. It's that people can't use their own imaginations to get past the story. It's like
Oh, yeah.
you've been lied to. You think Chewbacca and Han Solo are real, so now, of course, it's all balls, and we're going to leave this ball one day, and we're going to another ball.
Yeah. Well, here's what gets me, satellites. If supposedly, God only knows how many thousands and thousands of satellites we have floating, supposedly they're going around the earth. Not one time, you're telling me not one time the two of them would bump into each other and create shrapnel, which in turn would create a domino effect and destroy all the satellites. We never had that before. You're telling me not one time? And I know shit happens. And it happens all the time in NASA. I mean, hell, back during the Apollo program, we had a ship that actually blew up on the tarmac. I mean,
Well,
shit
and
happens.
Shuttle Challenger blew up with
Blew up. Yeah,
7 people in it. Well,
yeah,
6.
yeah. So you're telling me that not one time, because if you want to go by the movie Gravity that had Sandra Bullock in it, that's basically what happened. Well, they have one accident with one satellite, and just the shrapnel goes after one satellite, and it just continues, and we're just in the world of shit, right?
Yep.
So there you go.
And
Go
why,
ahead.
if you're going to make up a story, right, and it's called science fiction, so there's all these sci-fi movies out there.
Mhm.
Why do they never go sci-fi? Why is it always outer space with balls? If that's real life, that's not
Mhm.
science fiction,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Science fiction would be like, okay, let's think it's an ice wall, and we're on an infinite plane, and we get past the ice wall, and then we just keep going, and we never find the end. How about a movie like that? Sounds like it would be an interesting concept. You'll never find it. They don't want your imagination going there.
Yeah.
So the
Here's
imagination is, you've left the ball.
Yeah.
You're on the ball. You've left the ball. You're back on the ball. Science fiction. And
Mhm.
which is funny because it truly is science fiction.
Right.
But people go out and see it, and they put themselves there because they're like, that's real life. Only slightly science fiction.
Oh yeah. I
And
mean,
your
it's
imagination has been raped.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Here's what gets me. You have planes above I even asked this guy who claimed to be, in the Air Force. I said, explain to me, give me a logical reason why, if the Earth, from what I understand, is spinning or rotating east to west. This is the way I understand it. Okay, this is the reason why, we're dark before or California. They're 3 hours behind us. So it takes, the sun leaves California 3 hours behind us. I think was it west to east or east to west? Anyway, that's irrelevant. The point of it is you have the Earth supposedly spinning at approximately 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. And he corrected me. He said, well, in reality, it's 1,720 miles an hour, which I was thinking, question. So what you're telling me is the Earth, I was told it's 25,000 miles of the equator approximately. And now you're telling me it's over in like the 42,000 miles diameter. So that's when I started questioning this guy. I mean, I didn't know who I was dealing with, but supposedly he had the props and he really was who he said he was. So we go into this thing. My question was to him, how come is it takes the same amount of time for a plane to go from the East Coast to the West Coast as it does from the West Coast to the East Coast when the land below them is rotating? We'll go with his figures, 1,720 miles an hour. We'll just go with his figures. So you tell me, why is that equal time? And he said, well, the wind, was it the jet stream and yada yada yada, this and that. And I'm thinking, okay, so one direction you're being torn apart by winds are 1,000 miles an hour, and another direction you're being carried by winds are 1,000 miles an hour. Please explain to me how this works.
Also, ask him, what about, okay, if it's going 1,700 at the equator, and you go from the equator and you fly north and you want to land in Alaska.
Mhm.
You know how much slower it would be spinning up near Alaska?
Oh yeah,
Or, well, I mean, because you got the one speed, so it's hauling ass down at the bottom, and as you get closer to the top, it's going to be spinning.
but it's slower.
Oh, so your landing is going to be affected, which it never is. None of these things. Pilots don't take any of these things into account, but
Right.
all these things would be real. So yeah, it's there's so much we could just keep harping on that whole
Oh
thing
yeah,
forever
I just
and
find
ever
it.
and ever. There's just so many
And
Go ahead.
physical
Sorry.
anomalies that just don't
yeah,
work. There's Karen.
and it's funny as we were sat here, something just came into my head. Many years ago, living in England, I knew a girl called Rosie Clark, and I would go to the farm, and her dad was a neat guy, but her dad's brother was Arthur C. Clarke. I don't know if that means anything to anybody,
Yes,
right?
2001.
And as you guys were talking, I just pulled this up on the internet, and if everybody, Space Oddity, Arthur C. Clarke was famous for writing many books. He was born in Minehead in England, and in fact, my friend had a much older husband who went to school with Arthur, and I've been into Arthur C. Clarke's house, and he had, gosh, I mean, antiquities from all over the world with his travels. But one of the things that I'm reading here, which is quite interesting, put my glasses back on. Arthur C. Clarke was one of the true geniuses of our time. Not since George Orwell in 1984 has one writer's name conjured more speculation and fascination with a year than the author of 2001 Space Oddity. But it goes on here. He said that what did he predict? He predicted that there would be machines in the future. Computers would be able to outthink humans. Now, I know this got a little off track, but it got back onto track when you were talking about, computers. I really wish now, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't know this man was famous. I really didn't know who he was. He was just Rosie's Uncle Arthur, right? I was, I suppose, 17 or 18 at the time. And now I look back and think, oh my gosh, I could have visited with this guy. I could have talked with this guy. So much experience there. But back all those years ago, he predicted that computers would be able to outthink humans. None of this stuff that we're seeing is new. There's been people all through the years that have known other stuff. And then he spent the latter part of his life in, I think it was Sri Lanka. I think he was 90 when he died, and he died in Sri Lanka. And I think there was some bad info out there saying that he was a pedophile. I don't know if that's true. And I don't even want to go down that road of stuff, but he was a brilliant guy. But there's been so many brilliant guys in the past. So why does he kind of pack up all of his stuff and he just goes over to live a quiet life in Sri Lanka and then get blamed for something? Is that not something telling you that he knew more than he should have known? And that's the government sending him like, go live here. You can live out your life here. And then, you're not around your family. You don't have many friends. You live this quiet life and you get out of society and you can say no more. I mean, all this other information he might have known or things that he could never get out there. And,
right. It sounds like
what did
somebody
he know that he got shut up with?
It sounds like somebody who was part of the cult who left, and they didn't kill him. They just
Yeah.
they were like, don't mess with us, bro. And he's like, I won't. but
Yeah.
you don't get to know those things, and it's not weird for those people. They're again, I think they're on purpose reincarnation loop. That's why they're so smart. That's why they're such brilliant poets. That's why they're all this other crazy shit. They are consciously aware that they're not going back to somewhere. They're gonna stay here and be masters, right? That's like so. And teaming up with the devil, or however that works, and like being part of that club and all that shit. I mean, there's probably some more little slippery things to it than that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works, because look at the level of intelligence difference, right? Now, two things. You can either say what I said, or you can go with they're not human, and they're just smarter than us. That's how it is, right? Those are the only two options I've got, because there's not, humans can't be that vastly, just like mentally retarded over here and still able to, like, function and be like, hey, TV and duh. And then you got these people over here that are like building quantum computers.
Mm-hmm.
No, the gap is too big.
It's funny you should say that, because so yesterday evening, my husband and I sat down and we started watching Young Sheldon. I mean, we're always 10 years behind the rest of the world for watching. We don't watch a great deal of TV, but we started watching Young Sheldon. And one of those episodes, this kid is a genius, and he's talking about dial-up with the computers. And we were just talking this. Oh, do you remember the first computer? You had to dial it up through the phone line. It would be like a fax sound and everything. But there are kids like Young Sheldon out there that are just brilliant. And then, like you say, it's just where do they come from? I mean, is their DNA different, that somebody is born at 5 or 6 years old that have all this knowledge that there's no way they could have?
I don't think it's DNA. Sometimes it might be, right? That's why the bloodline people are so specific about that. But when you get anomalies like that,
gonna have, I mean, just brilliancy. Guys, I'm going to have to wish you good night, because it's like I said, it's my husband's birthday, and
it's 4. I was going to give us till 4:30, but I figure,
we're going to go visit some neighbors, and they've got him a little surprise birthday party. So
okay, cool.
I think we should get together again soon and get another show out there. And so, Jonathan, plan will be, I will come over next week. We'll set your second operation and think on what you want to do. And then maybe while Jonathan's doing the operation, Dr. Moder, I could video and setting it up, and then the listeners, or now they're not listeners, if we go on camera, can actually see, Jonathan setting up the operation and talk through step by step, which will make people feel.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well,
more confident in, like, hey, and you know what? If it doesn't work, try it again. I mean, if it doesn't work, one of the things that radionics woman taught me is, she's big into astrology, of course, is, hey, if it doesn't work, move where you've got your device. Face it a different way. Face it north, south, east, west, southwest, east, west, whatever. Move it on in somewhere different in your house. I mean, could it be stagnant where it is? Move it around. And she's big with all the charts to say, hey, she'll call me and say, hey, Karen, maybe you should move your device to the northwest or something, like, okay, or put you back to wherever. But yeah, I think it'll be great. So let's plan to get this set up, get some video, get it on the show soon, and let's follow Jonathan's adventure with radionics.
Yes, let's do that. All right. Well, Jonathan, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor for you to come on. And this really turned out to be a lot longer than I originally planned, also, and in a good way. And so hopefully that people out there that listen will get a lot of useful knowledge and a lot of entertainment from what we did today.
Yeah, dude. I
ask
appreciate both
Jonathan,
of you so much. Yeah. Go ahead, Karen.
Jonathan, can I ask you, would you let Dr. Moder know, text him your website, text him where the people can find you on Rumble, so that Dr. Moder can put this out on the what am I trying to say here? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm going to copy and paste it on
tonight.
Yeah, all the links. Yeah, all those links and everything will be on the description.
Yeah, put it on the description. You know what I was actually thinking? My brain went over, and I'm thinking, if I was to do birthday candles for Dr. Whom here, I'd have to take a fire extinguisher with me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Gosh.
You can go buy a 7
Good job
and
he
a
didn't
3
hear
or
me
whatever
on
it
that
is.
one.
And we're not too far behind them.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can go buy a
John,
big 6 and a big 3 or whatever it is, however old he is. Buy a big 63 or.
4, yeah. In fact, I got the year wrong. I made him a year younger.
Oh,
Hey, he's great vintage. I mean, he's just improving with age. So there you
Yeah.
go. But
Yes.
so no, let's get it on the description. And then, folks, I highly recommend you to go on and watch Jonathan's shows. And this I'm going to use his term, this dude, right? He's taught me the word dude. This dude is me. He's a very dear friend of me. He's a very sweet, loving person. For those that you don't know this, he does take care of his elderly mother 24/7.
I do. And I think I
And
do a pretty good
I've met
job.
her. She's a beautiful lady. I know he does. I'm a retired nurse, and I'm going to tell you, he does an excellent job. She's a beautiful lady, lovely soul. And sometimes when I go over there, if she's up to it, I visit with her for a while. And she knows she's got a neat son, and this is a good person. So let's call it a night. Let's get back together soon. And thank you so much.
I appreciate both
Fantastic.
of you guys so much. Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and just email me the file on your side of this, and I'll go ahead and have
I'm not going to
everything
be able to
uploaded.
email it. Listen to me. I'm not going to be able to email it. It's going to be too big. So,
So
so
you're on Gmail, aren't you?
yes, but
Yeah, Gmail goes in the cloud.
but
Oh, okay, sorry.
Telegram. Do you have a Telegram? Didn't we
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll drop it in Telegram, and you can just grab it from there.
Oh, rock and
'Cause
roll.
I can
That
literally
works.
just take the movie, set it in there. It'll take 30 seconds to upload, ding, and then you can just drop it on your desktop, and it's
That
30
works.
seconds. Yep.
That works for me. All right,
Cool.
guys. Well, on that note, I'm out of here too. Y'all have a great day now. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Aloha.